Hey, greetings, class. Welcome to Intro Psychology. I'm Jordan Root. I'm your professor. You're going to see a lot of me this semester as you watch the videos for the class. This is my office too, by the way. So if you check in during office hours, this is where you will find me. My office is always in some kind of disarray, but it's looking especially messy right now. I'm glad you can't see it. Anyway, this video is to go over some basic kind of tips for the class and to walk through the syllabus. Don't worry, I'm not going to read the entire syllabus to you. But let me share my screen and we'll get the ball rolling. I thought it'd be good if we started on our Canvas page. So let me see. So if I go to my Canvas dashboard, it looks like this. And you can see all the classes that I teach. So, hey, just a little plug, I guess. If you need courses in the future, I teach a lot of stuff. So, I've research methods for psychology, statistics for the behavioral sciences, social psych, human sexuality, a lot of stuff going on. So, if you just click on our class for general psych, and the way I set up my web page for everyone who takes a class with me online is all based on student feedback. What students have told me over and over and over again is that they don't like all the, I guess would be more like more artistic kind of bells and whistles for a Canvas class. They just want to see everything on one module page. Majority of students even told me they don't want like a fancy homepage. They're like, just take me to the modules. I'm like, well, okay, it is your class. You got it. So, this is it. If you go to our course, then I have everything posted on modules, and the announcements will be on top. And the first module is kind of basic materials that'll be with us through the entire course. So they're always there on the top module, like the syllabus, which we'll look at in a sec here. Office hours, you click this link, you can come see me if you want to talk to me during my office hours. And those are Mondays from 6 to 7 p.m. If that time or day doesn't work for you, just reach out to me. I'm sure we can make something happen. We can answer questions through email. If you need to talk on FaceTime, we can do that too. But Mondays 6 to 7, you just click that link. It'll take you into a Zoom room and we can chat. The other thing I have for this course here under anonymous questions and comments, sometimes students will want to ask a question, but they, for whatever reason it is, they don't want their name or their information attached. And they feel more comfortable asking anonymously. So there you go. If you click on this form or this link here, it takes you to like just like what is it? It's an Office form. It's Microsoft Office form. It'll tell me what class it came from, but it won't tell me, it won't even tell me what section if you're in a different section of this class. Like it won't even tell me that, but it'll tell me what class you're in. I don't know your name, your email, nothing. So if you want to be anonymous, ask a question and go for it. Those can be about psychological topics, or they can be, about the class itself, like questions about the paper, or, whatever it might be. Usually, what I'll do if I get good questions or I get a lot of the same question here, then I'll bundle it together. I'll bundle all those questions together. I'll answer them all in a video, and I'll put the video out for everybody. But you can always email me too if you just have questions about the class. But there you go. No need to be nervous about questions about the class. Okay, but for the class, it basically looks like this. I've got student resources here. I got some info about the textbook, and then supplementary information. There's nothing there right now, so I just put everything online. There's information about the papers, but I will make separate videos for those so you can watch those. I wanted to show you a typical chapter. A typical chapter looks like this. Here's chapter 1. It's an intro to psychology and research methods. So it's kind of like history of psych and how science is performed within the behavioral sciences, in particular psychology. So this is the way a typical we call module will look. You'll have a link to the e-text here. So if you click that, that should take you to the book. If you haven't purchased a book yet, that'll take you to the spot where you can purchase the book. If you have to put in a code or something like that, you click that on the chapter and you can put your code in and it should work. If it doesn't work, let me know right away because I may know how to fix your problem. I may not. And if I don't know, I want to get it to the publisher so we can get it fixed as fast as possible. Okay. And then for each chapter, you not only have, of course, the link to the textbook material, but you've got the video lectures. So this one's got, 2 different lectures for chapter 1, and I do want you to watch them both. this is probably the most important resource for the entire class are the lecture videos. I treat it just like I would if we were in class together. So watch those lecture videos, take notes. If I talk about it in lecture video, it'll be on the exam. Um, Kind of interesting thing, I guess, if I don't talk about it, there's something in the chapter that I don't really touch on in my lecture video, I'm probably not going to ask you about it on the exam. So the lecture videos are the best way to prepare for the exams in the course. There's the quiz. So each chapter has its own quiz, and they're just multiple choice quizzes. They're 1 point each, 10 questions. So they're 10-point quizzes. They're not supposed to kick your ass or anything. They're really just there to help you engage with the material like one more time. I expect you to get like, perfect 10s out of 10s on these quizzes. Um, yeah, there's no reason not to. If you got your textbook and you watch the lecture video, they should be pretty easy. Um, yeah, that's all we need to say for that for now. I think you guys know what quizzes are like. And there are discussions for each chapter too. Excuse me. I'm not going to try to, with the discussions. I know everyone that teaches online, all your professors, they do this. They have discussion assignments, and you're supposed to respond to your students. And I do the same thing too. I just try to, put things in there that are like interesting, not just busy work. I don't need busy work from you guys. You don't want to do busy work. I don't need to grade it. So sometimes the discussions are like a short video clip I want you to watch and respond to. Sometimes they're a podcast. I don't choose like hours long podcasts for you to listen to, but I got a couple that are podcasts I want you to hear that I think you'll find interesting and give me your thoughts on those. And then sometimes they're questions where there isn't a yes or no answer. And I just want to know, like, it kind of play with your own thoughts on this idea and then engage in the responses from others. So the discussion assignments are they're all a little different. It might be a video to watch, it might be a podcast to listen to, it might be an article to read, it might be just, think about this topic, respond to this image. And there's all kinds of things I use in there for the discussions. But yeah, and I always take feedback from you too. If you're like, this discussion was stupid, nobody likes it, like, let me know, right? I don't want to use those anymore. So let me know if that kind of thing happens. But that's kind of it for the chapters in each module. That's what you got. You got the e-text link, the lecture videos, a quiz, and a discussion. And each chapter kind of rolls out that way. See, like chapter 2 about neuroscience and biological psych, same thing. You got the chapter, you got video lectures. This one I threw in a couple of extra videos. Sometimes if there's a video I use within the lecture, I'll put a link to that, just the video itself. If you just want to watch that video without me talking over it. So there's a couple there, and there's a quiz and a discussion, and that's kind of how it goes. And then if we go through like 3 chapters, then there's an exam, right? And the exams are all online, and they're primarily multiple choice. They usually do like a short answer question for each chapter, but they're online. You just do them completely online at your own pace. And that's the other thing. So this class is really designed for you to work at your own pace. As you'll notice as I scroll down, like every chapter, every exam, every assignment, everything is already unlocked for you. So you can work ahead if you want. Here's what I would say about working ahead. So some people are going to hit the ground running. They're going to try to knock out as many chapters as they can, like in a weekend kind of thing. And that's cool, right? That's what it's set up for. If you want to do that, go for it. Um, excuse me. My only word of advice or maybe caution about that is if there's an assignment where you have to respond to somebody else, don't forget to do that part because you may have worked ahead and no one has caught up to you yet. Don't forget to go back and respond to people so you get full points. I mean, like, what a silly reason to not get full points on a discussion assignment because you're just like, oh shit, I worked ahead and I forgot to go back. So don't forget to do that, and you should be fine. All right, so let's look over the syllabus really quick here. Let me pull that up for you. There we go. There's the syllabus. So I do have it pulled up. Nice. All right. Come on, screen. There we go. So let me share my screen. We can look at the syllabus. Like I said, I'm not going to read this to you word for word, right? Not what we're going to do here. Okay, so we're all in the same place. This is Intro to Psych. Hey man, shocker. You've never seen this before. I like to start off my syllabi with a quote from someone, with some notoriety within my field. So this is William James. If you haven't heard of William James, you should look him up. Fascinating guy. He's considered, one of America's, the United States anyway, the first philosophers of the United States, the first famous one anyway. And he was also a psychologist. So he's kind of like pre-science for a lot of his career, where psychology was still very much in the realm of philosophy, and then he's there right when it becomes its own discipline and starts getting into the sciences, kind of saying, okay, philosophy is good, and we're going to take it like, we're gonna turn right here and start measuring some stuff. And so he's there too, and he has lots and lots of thoughts about everything psychological. Really, really inspiring guy to read about. But I like this one. He says, "Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does." And I know a lot of cynical people in my life. A lot of them even seem kind of like nihilists in a way, where they're like, it doesn't matter anyway, like life is so short, or we're just like, one little tiny dust mite in the universe, like nothing I do matters. It's like, I don't buy that shit. I feel like that's fine on that huge scale if you're operating and living at that huge scale, but you're not, right? You are a human like the rest of us. So, you know, it, you're always influencing others and being influenced by others, even when you're doing nothing. Like that has an impact on people. So, yeah, everything you do matters to someone, but especially yourself, right? So that's a good thing about this class is we can focus on those kinds of ideas and get into the weeds a bit, get into the nuances. Okay, but moving on. So, yeah, I'm Jordan Rude. If I haven't said that already, you can call me Jordan. That's fine. You can call me Mr. Rude, Professor Rude. I'm pretty flexible. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. You can email me through Canvas or directly through jrude@bakersfieldcollege.edu. They're supposed to like sync, so if you email one, then I get a notification on the other as well. Sometimes it has happened in the past where I don't get a message from a student and they message me through Canvas directly, and I don't know why that has happened sometimes in the past. Like they'll show me a screenshot, like, "Look, I sent it to you," and then I look at my inbox. I'm like, I don't have it. So if I don't respond to you within like probably like a couple days, like 48 hours, then send me another message to my Bakersfield College email address, because that one has never failed me. Okay, moving on. This class is entirely online. There is no mandatory meeting time. You don't have to come onto Zoom and to hang out for like a special lecture or a special meet and greet kind of thing. You don't have to do any of that. I know people, take classes online because they don't want to do that. So, yeah, this class is entirely online. The only time you have to interact with me if you want to or you need to during my office hours. But that's Monday at 6 p.m. Or send me a message if that time doesn't work for you. Okay, so catalog description and learning outcomes, these are kind of the same thing. Overall description of the course versus like specific types of skills and abilities you should have when you leave the course. So I'm not going to read them both to you. How about just let's do which one looks better here? Let's just do the catalog description. It looks shorter. So it's an intro to psych course. And it says here it's a study of the mind and behavior. That's pretty good. I mean, that covers a lot. If you look at the ancient, so like, the psychologists that founded the discipline as an academic discipline, in Austria, they would say it's the study of consciousness. It's the scientific study of consciousness. And like, there's almost nothing that we think, feel, or do that does not fall into that category. And I can't think of anything. So it's like anything and everything about being human, that can be measured, we're going to measure it. That's going to be the scientific part of psychology. All those things, what it means about being human, about the emotions, the behavior, the biology, the thoughts, like all those things that maybe that we cannot measure. Hey, it's still considered psychology. It's just going to be more on the philosophical end. So there's a lot of things we're going to talk about in here. Like it says here, theories and concepts about, biology, cognition, developmental psych, environmental, social, cultural influences, information that can be applied to make your life more meaningful or maybe better. How do we know this information? What's the research that has been done? Right, and that's really what the class is about. The cool thing about this class, I'll say it right now, is that it's an intro class, so we do kind of like surface material within all the subdisciplines of psychology. And that means we don't always have time to go deep into them. If you want to go deep into those subdisciplines, then you take that class just about that subdiscipline. For example, we have one chapter to talk about social psychology. I also teach an entire semester's long course on social psychology where we can go a lot deeper. So if you like a chapter, there's a class for you, right? Okay, so that's the cool thing too, though. Like If you really like a chapter, there's more courses for you. If you don't like a chapter, it's okay too, because guess what? The next chapter is going to be like a different psychological and scientific perspective from within the behavioral sciences. So like if you're like, I'm not into biology stuff, it just doesn't, like, I appreciate it, but it doesn't, I don't have passion for it. Well, guess what? There's another chapter where we will talk about something else. There's going to be biology in there, but it's not going to be the main focus, right? So that's what's cool. What makes that difficult as an intro course is that each subdiscipline has its own set of like terminology and kind of jargon. Um, so like the ideas are not going to be that tough because it's an intro class. The ideas from each subdiscipline are not that tough. Some of the jargon though is weird, right? It'll take you a second. That's the thing you'll probably practice, maybe, put on a flashcard so you're ready for the exams, that type of thing. So pros and cons, right? There's a lot of breadth and depth. We're not going to go deep, but there's a lot of breadth in this class, a lot of things to cover. Okay, moving on. Course Materials by Wiley is the publisher. The authors are Huffman, Dowdle, and Sanderson. It's called Psychology in Action. And here's the thing about the book. I don't care where you get the book. You can, if you have like a hard copy of the book you got from somebody else, you're good. If you get an e-copy from the bookstore, you're good. If you buy an e-copy from Canvas, cool. If you find a used book like on Amazon or eBay or something like that, get it, snatch it up. That's going to be cheaper than getting it from the publishers and definitely cheaper than the bookstore. I don't care where you get the book. I just want you to have a copy of it. Right? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to use any of the publishers' quizzes or supplemental materials. Just like all I'll grant you access to is, the chapters themselves so you can read the material. So it doesn't matter to me where you get the book. Find it the cheapest place you can find it, the better, right? Okay, BC policy stuff. If you go through the DSPS office, because there's some type of accommodations that help you out with your success in courses and in college, let me know. Right, let me know, and I'll work with you, of course. A couple people have already reached out. The typical thing is, I need like time and a half, or I need more time, right? When working on certain types of assignments, no sweat. But you got to let me know because that actually takes a little bit of time for me to go into Canvas and like change the time allotted for you as an individual in every single assignment. So let me know, especially if you want it ready for like those first rounds of assignments, let me know as soon as you can. If you think you need their services, go talk to them and get signed up. That way, we can work with you and we can work all that out. Okay. Other thing about this class about academic integrity. We're in the land of, we're in the world of Chat GPT now, and in academia, we have a specific problem that's hard for us. Like we want to test your knowledge, maybe even your creative thinking and that kind of thing. And when people rely on Chat GPT to do that for them, they're only cheating. I sound like I'm giving you a guilt trip, but like you're only cheating yourself if you use those things. Um, I use programs to try to detect plagiarism on papers, for example. How well does it work? I don't know. Does anybody really know? Right? Like as soon as there's some kind of detection software, then ChatGPT gets more advanced. It's like this arms race. Um, Kind of silly, I think, in our class if you use ChatGPT for anything, because the paper assignments, for example, one is an autobiography, right? You're going to ask, software to write your story. It seems like a waste of time, right? And the other one is simple. It's an article summary, and if it's written like a scientist wrote it, then that's going to be a big red flag for me. I'm going to be like, I don't think you wrote this, right? I'll use my Chat GPT detector on it. But it's a short paper anyway, so I don't know. I mean, try to make the papers valuable, but not like daunting for you, where you might go like, I'm using technology to write this for me. That being said, if you have professors on campus that are like, none of my students are going to get away with it. I'm like, okay, dude, right? It's like you got one over on us if you're one of the people that uses Chat GPT. But I do take it seriously. So if I see that there's an issue of academic integrity, then I'll report you right away. Because I mean, it's just insulting to me. It's my job, right? And you're coming in and you're like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to cheat. It's not fair to the other students. It's disrespectful to me as a professor, someone who's trying to help you, get an education. Anyway, and go on and on. But just so you know, I have software in place that I try to use on the papers if I think that you're cheating somehow, And if it comes back that you are, then I have to report you, and that is really not worth it. You don't want that drama. So just don't cheat. Okay, lots of support services for you. These are all linked, on our Canvas page, so you can go there and look at the links a lot easier that way. Course policy stuff. Sometimes I get students that say, "Well, I don't have a computer or any way to get online," and they sign up for this class, and I'm like, "Why? Why?" Right? So you need a computer. I don't recommend just using your phone. If you have a big tablet, that might work, right? You can use your phone, but it just be a pain in the ass for you. Some kind of tablet or computer would be best. Okay. All right, let's see. Netiquette issues. Yeah, I just want you to, when you speak to each other online, imagine that you're in a class and you're talking to somebody and you have the anonymity, so people might want to say rude things to each other like they would on social media. I don't want you to treat our class like social media, a little more professional than that. Um, Other things about network etiquette. If you're writing to me, and I'm not like I'm not so fragile that I want you to like, address me only this way. And, but it does help me if you tell me your name, what class you're in, and even with the CRN number for the class, it'll help me answer whatever question you have faster. If you leave that out, I have to look it up. Um, and that's just going to slow down the process for me getting back to you. The other thing is use your BC email or use Canvas to contact me. Don't use an outside email, especially if your name isn't on it. It just makes it harder for me to find you. Okay. Other stuff. So this class is, deemed a safe zone because I am an ally of the LGBTQIA plus community. Many people that I love in my life, that are strengthened and supported by this community, and I'm, proud to consider myself one of those supporters. So, all that really means for our class is that if you say something disrespectful about a marginalized community, that I've just kind of, I don't know if the word is vowed and vow, but like I kind of made a promise, I guess, to stick up for marginalized groups of people, which I would do anyway, right? No matter what the group is. But this one's just specific for LGBTQIA plus peeps. It also means that if you need support and you're a member of this community, then you can come see me. I can steer you in the right direction. Or if you need support and you're not really a member of the community, but you want to be an ally, or maybe you haven't come out, or whatever it is, you can talk to me. I can be a friendly ear, and I can again steer you in the right direction to find the support that you need. Okay, late work for our class. You have so much time to get work turned in that if you don't turn it in on time by the time it's due, then just deduct half points. It's just the way it goes, right? But like you don't have to turn anything in. It's like for sometimes like months at a time. I think our first due date for anything is September. I should look and I'll look in a sec, but since September, so you have plenty of time. If you don't get it turned in, it's like, man, that is really on you. You had like a month to do this. Yeah, so turn your work in on time. If we go through a round where we've gone through three chapters and like the three quizzes and the three discussions attached to those, and the exam attached to that material. And I haven't heard anything from you. I'm going to assume that you are not in the class anymore. I'll send out one email that's just like, hey, what's up? You haven't turned anything in. Is everything okay? Are you still in the class? Respond to me by this date or I'm going to drop you. And the drop is really not because I'm like mad or anything. The drop is so it's really for you. It's for your benefit. The sooner that happens, the better, actually, because it might, impact how much money you owe the campus. Um, you're standing at the end of the class, whether you get a W or not, and that kind of thing. So I'll try to do that as quickly as possible. Speaking of important dates, the last day to drop and get a refund for the class is September 5th. So it's pretty quick, right? Last day to drop or add the class is, that's not right. Was a number missing there? That should say September 7th. Um, just September 0 should be September 7th. And then the last day to drop and receive that W is Halloween, right? It looks like it's Halloween this year. So October 31st, Halloween. Yay. I love Halloween. All right. So assessment stuff for the class. This is the work associated. And you probably get the gist because I showed you Canvas, right? So there are a total of 4 exams in our class, and they're not cumulative. They're just going to cover the chapters, following the last exam. Usually like 3, sometimes 4 chapters at a time. There's a quiz for every chapter, right? There's a multiple choice quizzes. There's a discussion for every chapter. There you go. And there's two writing assignments. So there's an article summary assignment where you find a scientific article that relates, that's from a psychological journal, and just tell me about it, right? Pretend it's a story you're relaying to somebody. Tell me what happened. What did these scientists do, right? And there's more about that. You can go look at the module on that paper to get the gist of what I'm looking for. And even just the gist, you can clearly see what I'm looking for there. And then the second paper is autobiography paper. Same thing. There's a separate video for that. And that one is kind of tell me about who you are. Like what types of psychological processes that you learned about in this class seem to relate to you and can explain something about you and who you are today. Right. So that's the autobiography paper. More about that too. And if you go look up that on its own module in Canvas. So here's the grade breakdown, right? Each exam is 100 points. There's an article summary, it's 100 points. Autobiography is 100 points. The discussions, because there's 13 of those, 130. And the quizzes, there's 13 of those as well. So it adds up to 130 points. So that's it. Nothing super wild about the way I have the course set up. I want you all to be successful. If you have any questions, please reach out. Now, if you want to pace yourself in the class, look at this course schedule. If you do one chapter a week, you're right on schedule, right? That's fine. So you don't have to work ahead. Some people like, by next weekend, they're going to have like all of this done. You do not have to do that. If you go through the first week of the semester and you're like, I got through chapter one, cool. Right? That's all you need to do. My advice would be like when you finish a chapter, then right away come take the quiz for that chapter and complete the discussion for that chapter. Just because it'll be fresh in your mind, right? Watch the lecture videos, engage with the textbook, take the quizzes and the discussion right away. And then just do one chapter a week and you're good. Like I don't think I have any weeks in here where there's more than one chapter. No, it's all one chapter a week. It's perfect. It's funny. It's like a 16-week semester. It's a 16 chapter textbook. Easy, right? Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, so that is the syllabus. I'm sure there are some questions you're still going to have about the class before we get going. Feel free to send them my way. I'll answer you. And like I said, if I think it's something the whole class should hear, then I will tell everybody the answer to your question. All right, gang. I hope that was helpful. And if you need to see me in person, I'll see you Mondays at 6. And if not, best of luck in the class. I'm here to support you, give you everything you need.